Today we're going to make a cordless grease gun from a drill. Can we do it? We can do it. So I keep seeing cordless grease guns, and I just can't bring myself to pay $200, $300, $400 for a grease gun with the drill attached. So I figured I already have drills, I already have grease guns. Let's just put them together ourselves. So I went out and grabbed 4 out of the bucket of grease guns that I have. Probably have 20 of them. There's just 4 off the top. These 2 are virtually identical. These 2 are pretty close. All we got to do is come up with a device that moves this up and down. Just a quick note, you may notice that this is actually kind of, it doesn't go straight up and down. It's kind of canted at an angle, this one and this one. Some of the other ones go straight up and down, which, I don't know. Figured I have 2 that are the same sitting here, so I'll just use this design that kind of tips at an angle. I'll just use that to my advantage. Whether or not it's an advantage or disadvantage, I don't know. So sketched out a couple rough ideas last night at the dinner table. Couple different plans. Came up with one I think will work pretty good. And I started drawing it out on a piece of 3/8 inch plate to cut it out. So going to need some bearings. We're going to need some steel plate, some rod, and a couple little brackets just to weld to the existing grease gun, and we should be good. So these right here are actually just roller skate bearings, roller blade bearings. You can find the same thing in fidget spinners. They're 608s. I will say the ones in fidget spinners are going to be the lowest quality known to man, and you're probably not going to get good life out of them. But skateboards, roller skates, roller blades, stuff like that uses these 608s. They are roughly 5/16 inside, or 8mm, and 22mm outside / 7/8 of an inch outside. They're really common, and they're about the smallest you can get that are super readily available. But anyway, this is what we have. This is actually going to attach to the top of that little plunger and move up and down. And so you're going to have a round cam on the drill. So as the drill rotates, one of these bearings is just going to spin around with the drill center. This is going to spin around on a little cam. And as it spins around, it's going to move this with it up and down. Plunger goes up and down about a little over 1.25 inches. So I also need 1.25 inches side to side movement right here. Quick tip, anytime you're drilling something and you want to go perfectly down it, like a maybe you're drilling down a round cylinder or down inside of a bolt or something, take the drill bit and run it down the side of it first. And so I can take it down my part and I can look and make sure that I'm square. And if you're square this way, and then if you're square on the other end, then you're going to drill right down the center of it. Carbide burr on a die grinder. Well, let's piss some people off. You guys are crazy. That's what we want. So we got this, and now I need a circle to a disc that the drill actually spins that holds this. And so I guess that bearing's only going from here to here, so a circle that's just as wide as that, which is roughly a little over 2. We just do 2 1/4. 2 1/4 looks like it works to me. So we just need a circle now, 2 1/4. Or something like that. Is 2 1/4? That's about 2 1/4. Work. Yep. There'll be a center hole, 5/16. This is what the drill will run. And then there will be a dowel pin that will hold the bearing. Just like that. The drill spins this. Moves this bearing around in this direction. Moves this up. Moves this down. Moves this up. Moves this down. 1/4 inch. And we have our dowel for this bearing. And then we have the shaft coming out for the drill to run. The chuck will be back here. We need a bearing right here. And I think because of this distance and load, we should probably put another bearing back here. Stack 2 of them, maybe touching, maybe further apart. I don't know if I have the room to do them further apart, so it might just be 2 bearings side by side. Not that it's important, but we're just going to use a lathe to drill a hole in the center and just make sure that it's square. So I can drill the hole anywhere on that circle, and it'll grab that bearing and give me exactly, let's see, inch and a quarter swing. So I threaded this hole in here because I'm going to use this as my rod. So 5/16 bolt. The shaft right here is 5/16 as well. So I'm just going to thread that in. It's going to be pretty dang straight. I'm going to trim off the back and just weld the back on. But this should spin pretty true. Here we go. Just doesn't look normal. Just looks like it's going to break your bit right off. Can't even see. Yep, we're right on our line. Okay. Tapped. I'll thread that in nice and tight, and I'll just put a weld bead right here, sand it smooth. Then I'll just cut this off to whatever I need, and then my other bolt right here is actually going to hold my bearing. So I'm actually going to put my bearing through, thread that on. I think I'm going to have to put a washer on each side. There we go. And pop it out. Actually, we have this punch here, but it'll pop right out. Yep. There we go. Take this, find out where the hole is, drill the hole through the front, put it in there, trim off this so it's not a little bit shorter, insert this through, just tack weld it on the front. Make a little bracket that just, it'll actually weld to this. Can't weld anything to this because that spins off to take out the grease cartridge. So it has to weld to this little lip right here, which is good because it's nice and thick. We may even have to bring the weld over to here to reinforce it. This is steel as well. And just put our bearings in there. So this is roughly what I'm making a rocket ship. This will go around the tube of the grease gun. That is where my bearing support is. Yeah, roughly like that. I need 2 bearings in there. I don't want to use just 2 huge. I want to keep this as light as possible. So I actually just welded a scrap piece of 3/8 on the back. And before I cut the whole thing out, one of the annoyances of a mag drill is it doesn't like teeny pieces. So I got cutting it out. I'm like, wait a minute, can't cut it all the way out yet. So I'm going to drill those holes together. So now we have more thickness to retain 2 bearings. So I'll cut that out now. Maybe I should see if I could put these out even further. I probably could. Just to give it more. The further out this second bearing is, the less play and everything. I might do that. I didn't like how loose these bearings were in there, because they need to grab on the inside and the outside. So I put a spot weld, spot weld, spot weld. I put 3 spot welds in there, just teeny, and then I ground them down with a Dremel carbide burr. Awesome little thing. So now there's just a little bit of a raised bump on 3 sides, so these will push in, but they're held. And then I put some dimpling right on the shaft to keep that in place, and we'll put some 660, which is just like a, like I said, retaining compound. A little bushing. Spacer. Slide this together. Slide this together. So I just put a washer there, and then I made a little locking sleeve, locking collar. I actually took that bolt that I pulled out of my leaf spring last week for my truck, and I just drilled out a hole down the center, and then just cut it off, and then drilled a hole in the side, and put a little set screw in there. Tighten that up so that holds everything together. So now the crucial part, we actually have to weld this to that, and that's permanent. So I don't know if you guys can see. Let's see. So like I said, this is at an angle. It doesn't go, it's not straight up and down. It's not at a 90 to the body. So this will come over here, and we're going to raise it up, kind of hold it together, and just weld it. Put a couple. I'll put a tack weld here and there. Okay, we knocked that off now. So it's all welded up. There is a rubber washer in here that I took out first, and it smells like burning grease now. I had to be really careful that I didn't destroy the threads in here, you know, because this needs to thread onto there. See if you get the idea. You ready? You know, generally you'd probably always run this in slow speed. World's first! I looked all over the internet to see if I could find something like this that, you know, years ago I did, and nobody's even talking about it. So apparently I'm the only one that wants a drill powered grease gun. So this is what I came up with. A piece of pipe that slides over the outside so you can move it around for different drills. And I measured the DeWalt and a couple of Makitas, and they all seem to share the same style. Like the handle from the chuck is about the same, so it should fit a lot of cordless drills. And we'll just weld this into here, and this will just be able to pivot out of the way, but it'll hold it off while it's drilling under force, if that makes sense. There we go, all painted up, ready to go. This little pipe that sleeves over the outside, I cut a slit in it and put a pipe clamp on it just to snug it up just a little bit. It doesn't need to be snug. This can still move. You can loosen it up, move it wherever you want to fit different size drills. So this just pushes off this base right here and triangulates itself to add support. But slide it over, chuck it up, and it's ready to go. It feels like a tool. So let's put some grease in it. I have a whole video on loading grease guns, if you need to know that. Pull out the little cartridge. So the last cartridge is, there's no barcode on it, so this is 70s. So this hasn't had grease in it since the 1970s. Or yeah, that's the last time this grease cartridge was put in there. So we'll put our own in. Let's put another old one in. This one at least has a barcode, so we know it's from the, where's the barcode? So we know it's at least from the 90s, 80s. Took off the straight hose, put on a flexible hose. This is just a grease zerk. Just snap that in, see if it works, and don't know the last time this one took grease. Probably not that long ago. Yeah, grease is coming out the bottom. I don't know if you guys can see that. Done. Greased. So I noticed under high torque, when it's actually compressing the grease out, the drill actually wants to bend towards the grease gun. So we're just going to put a little standoff here, adjustable. There. Oh, it's too long. Crap. Come on. One-handed Leatherman. So there you go. I just put a little rubber piece of actual inner tube, thick inner tube on there just to help cushion it. You can adjust it in and out for different drills, just like you can adjust the entire rest for different drills. Paint's still just a little bit wet, but that's it. Now we can screw that bolt out just a touch, just so it touches the drill. Oh yeah, wow, that's quick. That's super fast. Wow, that's fast. Gotta eat your vegetables. It's lettuce. Come on. Just entertain me. Come on, just eat the lettuce. Come on. No? I mean, that's all that is just lettuce and a little bit of meat juice. Come on. Eat the lettuce. Okay, I'm going to just put it in here. There, now eat it. Don't be picky. Gotta eat it all. Did you really just eat all that other lettuce except for that one piece I told you to? I told you to eat that one piece. You ate everything in there. Lettuce and all except for that one piece. You suck.